Good morning, all. Hope you are well. It's Friday. It's vlog day. That is my vlog day, in case you don't know. We finished the Empower Challenge last week, the first one. The next one starts on Monday. So obviously check-ins will be back with those on that day, on the Fridays. For now, it is all systems go leading into the MK Classic Show, the NPC Regional next weekend. I have quite a few clients doing it. Kuba does too. I have quite a few clients competing over these next 2 weekends with competitions that are here in the UK in different federations as well as the NPC. So very excited for that. Today and yesterday's days were busy with setting up plans for the peak weeks, setting up plans for the weekend for the people who've already been on peak week, and also setting up post-show plans for the people that will be finishing their seasons as well. It's very important to make sure that mentally you feel good leading into a peak week, that there's at least a provisional plan. Day-to-day things might change, and they should do if the client needs it, need to be responsive off the back of that. If your plan stays the same and doesn't adjust slightly, I mean, fair enough if it doesn't have to, but a lot of the time little changes and modifications need to be made based on how people are feeling and how the body is responding. And that's what obviously we are here to do as coaches. But setting everything up and making sure that they feel nice and confident with things is very important, and especially for that post-show phase. I like to make sure at least like 5 to 7 days before the show there is a plan set up for both training, cardio, steps, any supplement changes that are obviously needed based on obviously if they're an assisted bodybuilder, etc., so that they can feel confident what they're going to be doing after show. And definitely for the food as well, based on things that they want, that they fancy, that they have been craving, to make sure that they can have that kind of feel good, and it helps them to be able to nail that post-show phase incredibly well too. So that has been on the agenda both this morning and yesterday as well. I'm just out on my walk. Today's vlog is all going to be around longevity within bodybuilding, because we know that competing doesn't last forever, but there's ways to be able to allow for it to last for longer. And whether that comes to mindset, whether that comes to training your body, your injuries, the lifestyle, etc., we're going to go through different points of that across today, so that we can have a little bit of education whilst we do have a vlog where I basically just go about my day of eating and training and working, which is the life of an online coach slash someone that loves to train and eat and trains well as well. Do you like how I didn't say bodybuilder? Just because we're going to talk about longevity. And that first one comes down to this morning walk, which is steps. People see that as a burden when it comes to being a bodybuilder. The biggest part to becoming or having, I need to move my arm because it's going to die. Being able to have longevity within the sport is seeing your process as part of your life. So rather than seeing it as a burden, oh, I have to make my meals, oh, I have to stick to plan, oh, I have to go to the gym, oh, in the summer I'm too warm and I can't sleep, in the winter I can't sleep because I've got a seasonal affective disorder and I feel sad. All these different things that people try and see bodybuilding as to be a burden for their life. Like, we need to enjoy it. We want to be able to step and go out for a walk. I mean, I'm going for a walk with the dog. That is just because she is my responsibility. I love going for a walk with my dog. That is my steps. So that's not a burden, that's just part of my life. So it's not steps for bodybuilding, it's just getting moving for my life. And that, again, will create for me to have more longevity, because it's things that are just implemented and ingrained into me. That's just part of it. We have so many people that come to the gym at UltraFlex that kind of do bodybuilding because they enjoy it. They love to train, they love to eat well, they love the process of it. And I think sometimes when it comes to being a bodybuilder, people don't see it that way, and they can see it as a little bit more of a burden. So across today, we're going to talk about little things that maybe you think, oh, it's just because you're a bodybuilder, but actually it's because you enjoy to do it for life. So this is steps, but dog walk, and because I enjoy getting moving in the morning and having a little bit of sun on my skin. And I've done that every day, all of my life. Even when I lived at home with my dad and my mum, I'd go out for a walk in the morning with the dog. I didn't see that as steps when I was a younger girl. It was literally just going out for a walk. So part of life because I like to lead a healthy and fit lifestyle, and that is what one main part of bodybuilding is, being able to keep longevity and keep it going both now and after bodybuilding is just seeing it as part of my life, and I enjoy that. So definitely something to learn. Longevity is essentially making bodybuilding feel like a life rather than a burden. So we are back home ready for meal one. The same as usual: egg whites, egg, bread, veg, and blueberries. A simple meal that takes 5 minutes to make, literally 5 minutes, and something that I've ate all my life. I used to have it as dippy egg soldiers when I was younger. Obviously now I just have it as an omelette, etc. So that's another part of being or having longevity within the sport. Enjoying your meals and not seeing again eating well as a burden, because yes, towards the end of a competition prep, you don't have a lot of food, but not to the point where it's starvation mood. Like, there's people in the world that literally eat nothing, and we're able to have vegetables and protein each and every single meal 4, 5, 6 times a day. So yeah, it's not the most comfortable of feelings, and yes, the last 6 weeks of a competition prep, I'm not saying is the healthiest, but you still do get a decent amount of foods. So apart from that, and away from that kind of 6 weeks that we're not going to talk about right now, because that's not what we're talking about, eating well is not a bad negative thing. It's not something to bad mouth, I guess the word is. You want to enjoy it. You want to be okay with eating well. It's like, I feel so much better when I've had a meal of good foods, whole foods, and I feel much worse when I've had processed foods. I feel better when I don't have to think about the things that I'm going to eat. I pretty much know what I'm going to have, maybe like a 2 different options, a sweet version, a savoury option for most meals, so that I can obviously swap and change between the two. Variety is great, especially when it comes to eating well and staying to plan. You can balance it with an off-plan meal. You don't have to overeat to have a great time. I'm also going to say that you don't have to do this if you don't want to, because it is your choice. But eating well, eating non-processed foods, eating whole foods, your digestion will feel better. If you're getting older, your feel good will feel better, especially if you're going through something like the menopause. You'll feel way better if you can actually eat well. Yes, it's easy to grab a snack. Yes, it's nice to have a snack sometimes. I'm not saying that you can't do that. Having balance and moderation with things is fine. But if you're a bodybuilder, to be able to have the longevity both within the sport when you are doing it and afterwards to still live the lifestyle, because bodybuilding is a lifestyle. If you really enjoy it, I think it's something that you'll probably keep doing forever. You've got to enjoy the foods, and you've got to be happy with the fact that you feel good after eating whole foods, and it's just part of your life. I personally wouldn't want to eat in any other way. Working with both lifestyle clients and competitive clients, I find the feedback that I get when it comes to digestion, when it comes to how they feel, how much more energy they have, even the fact that they just don't feel as stressed, as emotional, etc. when it comes to eating better. Like, the feedback that you get is great. The only thing that you've got to do is start and try. So if you haven't started and tried it, definitely give it a go. Yes, you might fall off a little bit sometimes. Yes, things might go wrong even if as a competitor sometimes. Yes, obviously there is an element of balance even as a bodybuilder at times. But eating well, eating whole foods is not hard, and it will give a lot more to your life and your health long term for longevity. So back at my desk, working, I think that a routine's also a really great way to be able to keep longevity within bodybuilding really good. I've always had a routine before I was a bodybuilder, even when I wasn't competing as a diver, just because my mum and dad have always had one. On a weekend, we weren't sleeping in, we were getting up, we were washing cars, we were doing our changing of the beds, etc. All these little things that are a routine, but potentially were just part of life before, whereas now we call it a routine. So we don't need to put a label on everything, but keeping something where we have a set time that we could potentially be going to work, finishing work, going to the gym, etc. So that there's some type of structure to our day, allows us to feel a little bit a little bit less overwhelmed, and it allows us to be able to fit everything in. That doesn't just mean from a bodybuilding perspective, someone that wants to do CrossFit, someone that wants to be able to achieve great things when it comes to their career, etc. Having that structure there will allow you to be able to go 3 days, tick the boxes, and likely because you've done all those things, less procrastinating time, meaning that you even have a little bit more time for downtime with catching up with friends, enjoying downtime with family, etc. All these little things are like what it's like for being a bodybuilder, but they can cross over to so many things in life. And if you can get those types of things nailed, again, the lifestyle of being a bodybuilder will be something that can be more long term rather than it just being short term. And you don't feel rubbish for it, you actually feel much more positive about it. So, when it comes to being overwhelmed, I think one of the biggest things that people do is turn to food for comfort. I think it's something that we want to do is create some better habits when it comes to what can I do to help feeling less overwhelmed, feeling less stressed. There's a big kind of push on, eliminate stress from life, etc. You can't get rid of stress. And if somebody's trying to tell you that you can, they're lying. What you can do though is try to reduce it. Reading, going for a walk with the dog, going for a coffee with your friends, having something to look forward to every 6 weeks, like going to the spa, going and having a chat with your partner, something that doesn't cost money, etc. All these little things that everybody can do to help alleviate stress, not eliminate it. Because I think if we try to focus hard on eliminating it and it doesn't go away because we can't get rid of all stress in life, it just makes more frustration. Then it makes that people go and turn to food even more, etc. It just becomes a vicious circle. So finding things that help to alleviate stress, not eliminate stress, trying to find things that are a much more long-term solution rather than a short-term fix like what food is definitely going to be something that allows you to be able to move through life much better. Potentially, I've just gone away completely from what we were talking about, which is longevity within bodybuilding, but things like that will actually allow you to be a better bodybuilder if you don't actually turn to food, because obviously we know that keeping a good calorie balance is a part of being a bodybuilder, but also part of leading a healthy and fit life as well. As we speak about routine, I've just had my meal too. Beef, potatoes, veg, and that's the job lot being in the diet. The potatoes have reduced and the pineapple has gone. One other thing to keep your longevity in an awesome spot is definitely helping to keep your blood markers, health markers, whatever you want to call them, in a really great place. The one little caveat that I would say to that is, regardless of whether you utilize having good blood work in a great space, when it comes to things like PDs, if you are a female, your blood work will not tell you if you are virilized, and virilization is deepening of the voice, hair growth in areas that potentially you don't want it, facial changes, your jaw obviously going a little bit of a different shape, etc. The things that obviously make you look a little bit more masculinized when it comes to taking PDs, obviously it's something that you can't really avoid. So there's some people that can get away with that, and that's likely why even if they run small amounts, large amounts, they can get away with it, or some people can take very small amounts and they don't get away with it. So the caveat to obviously keeping your health markers in a great place is that your health markers will not tell you if you're virilized, and they'll not tell you if you are still fertile, which is also another way that obviously you can get affected by utilizing PDs. But if you choose that path, which I did, obviously you know the risks that can come with that, and it's your own risk versus reward as to A, how long you do them for, B, how much you push with them, and C, how long you choose to continue to do that for. So for me, I am currently going through the process of a longer improvement phase, just to take my body away from the heavy dieting, just because I've done that kind of 10 years back to back. The body as a female definitely gets a little beat up towards the back end of that prep, so taking that little bit of time away is definitely something that's needed from a health and mindset perspective. So that's why I've got longevity in mind, both for my body and for my mind and for my bodybuilding process as well. So at times you might need to do that, especially if you want to keep feeling great for the rest of your life, because we know that last bit of prep is not the healthiest, but the rest of the bodybuilding process is pretty healthy. Just obviously when it comes to the PEDs perspective, you need to make sure that if you do want to keep your health in a good little space, that you're not overusing, that you are being safer, that you are taking the blood work, and if there's things that are coming up that are saying that aren't in a great space, that you are responsive off the back of them. Extra health supplements needing to be taken, maybe some cardiovascular work that needs to be implemented, maybe a change in the type of PEDs that you are taking. I actually got one of my male bodybuilders' blood works back this week, and his health markers are better than what they even were before he started taking PEDs. Yes, his testosterone is a little bit higher than kind of the norm, and his estrogen, but the rest of his actual health markers are better than 90% of people that I coach that are non-competitors that don't take PEDs, just from putting the protocols in place. Obviously the risks when it comes to his testosterone being higher, estrogen being higher, he knows his risks, he has his own kind of risk versus reward ratio, and then kind of you choose the other caveat to PEDs, especially, well, as a male or female, that as a female likely you'll probably have to use HRT a lot earlier than a normal female, and also as a male likely you'll not be able to come away from at least TRT dose of testosterone if you do choose to go down the route of obviously utilizing cycles when you are a bodybuilder. So longevity in mind, keep a track of your blood work. If things are coming back and saying that they are not right, even if your body is giving you the responses that it's not feeling right, listen to them, don't be silly, and make sure that you are adaptive off the back of them. If you need to take a little bit of time away from cycles, if you do need to obviously come away from utilizing cycles, doesn't mean that you have to come totally away from bodybuilding, even if it means from a competitive setting that you are coming away from it. And if you do need to take that little bit of time away from actual stage time, do that, because it will give back to your body tenfold, the next time you get on stage, so that your prep can move well, because health's in a great spot, and from a mindset perspective and for post bodybuilding as well. The one thing that I will say is people demonize bodybuilding a lot, especially when they've finished or when they've chosen to go down the route of PEDs, and then obviously things aren't the best afterwards. Like, if you choose to go down that route, know that it's going to take a very long time for you to get your natural function back, and you have chosen that process. If somebody's choosing to give you the support in a smarter way and they're giving you the guidance, like, choose to take it. Things like thyroid medication needs to be tapered off slowly, listening to blood work over time. And I'm talking like over a year, especially if you're choosing to come off it and you have been on it for quite some time. If you're choosing to come away from things like testosterone dosages as a female, you're going to have to taper that off and obviously listen to your body. But it takes time, so longevity in mind, you have to listen to it. Okay, we are in for legs. I've got squats today. I'm being joined by one of my old clients, Lucy. She was a natty figure girl. If you watch back through my YouTube, you'll have seen her. She was one of my clients for 4 years. We became very good friends, so I'm excited for a good session together. It's going to be absolutely lovely jubbly. She'll probably make me look like a small child when it comes to the squats, so I'm excited for it. It's going to be a good session, and always in for a good session when it's with Lucy. Anyway, training is an enjoyable part of the process. If you do not enjoy training in any capacity, then bodybuilding is definitely not going to be something that you can do long term, because I mean, apart from obviously the stuff in the kitchen with your meals, every other part of the work is done in the gym and on the gym floor. So if you don't have enjoyment for that, maybe trying to find something that you do, because not everybody has to be a bodybuilder. I'm not forcing anyone to do it, but if there's one thing that anybody can take away from it, is having true passion is something that will help you to be able to stay in it for a long time. So trying to find love within it is definitely an important part. One of the last parts of longevity, not just with bodybuilding but with life, is definitely stress management. I think that people often try and find a way to eliminate stress, and that just creates for more stress. Life, especially as you get older, is always going to have a little bit of stress because you've got things to do, you've got places to be, you've got responsibilities to have. And if you try to eliminate the stresses from life, you're just going to get yourself more worked up with the fact that you can't do that. So it's about finding things that allow you to de-stress rather than eliminate stress. Walks on your own with the dog, going outside and getting some fresh air, just sitting and breathing, doing some reading, doing some journaling if that's something that you like to do, sitting and chatting to your partner, watching a film, listening to some music, things that are going to help you feel good but feel good for a long time, rather than just trying to find quick fixes. Quick fixes only last very short times, eating foods that you probably shouldn't do, etc. So essentially, try and find things that are going to help you de-stress, not eliminate stress. The kind of lower stress that you can feel, or the better you can manage it, especially as a bodybuilder, the more chance you'll probably have of sticking to plan, keeping your body in a great place, having your body in a good spot to be able to be reactive, responsive, etc. So longevity for mind and body, try and find ways to actually manage your stress, and the world will be your oyster. So that is the end of the day. We have watched a little bit of telly for the last 30 minutes. People watch it a little bit longer than what I do, but for the last 30 minutes prior to having the meal, or the last meal, and then heading to bed, just for a little bit of switch off time. Otherwise I find sleep is a little bit unproductive. We know as we get to the busy part of the season, having competitors competing in different parts of the world, sleep gets a little bit different anyway, staying awake for people, travelling to shows for people, etc. So we knew that it can all get a little bit up and down, but on the days that we can manage to have a bit of downtime and get to bed early, it's always going to give back when it comes to the sessions and how productive you are in the morning as well. So definitely don't want to be reliant upon caffeine. That is very important. I think if you do want longevity for life when it comes to being great at business, being able to, and I'm definitely not at the top of anything, I'm just saying from people that are my mentors that have taught me, it's that you've got to enjoy what you do. You have to be productive without the need for things to make you productive. So caffeine, other things, you should obviously be very focused in your body and mind to be able to be productive when it comes to both work and any other hobbies that you have. I'm not going to say that it has to be bodybuilding, but I'm going to take a second to say, I think, when it comes to bodybuilding, if you are someone who wants to be successful and be competitive, bodybuilding is very challenging. The end of a diet, if you don't feel like shit, then you've done something wrong with your competition prep. And if your coach is making changes and calories are low, you should feel not very good. And if you do feel pretty good, likely you need to look into what avenues do I actually need to try a little bit harder with, whether that be training, not adding extra additional calories to things, or the cardio or the steps. Like, I feel on death's door towards the back end of my prep, and we manage my preps incredibly well. And I've not met anybody who's at the top of the game who feels absolutely fantastic. The mind is happy to be there, the body is looking fantastic, and the challenge is worth it for what the end goal is. But bodybuilding is very hard. The training should be very hard. The meals are dialed in. If you want to be great, you do have to be extreme. And if anyone's telling you that you can be great and you don't have to be extreme, then they're probably telling you a bag of lies. And that's not me being cruel, and that's not me trying to sound like it's more hardcore than what it is. Like, it's intense, it's extreme, and to be great at it, you have to be okay with it being intense and extreme. It's not something that lasts forever from a competitive point of view. the end of a competition prep is likely the time that it is the most unhealthiest. I'm not going to talk from a assistance bodybuilding perspective, but the actual lifestyle is pretty healthy. As long as that's what you enjoy. If you don't enjoy it, don't do it. And if you want to unlock levels of your physique from a condition perspective, from a muscularity perspective, you are going to have to work hard, because if it's not feeling difficult or challenging in good ways, as well as obviously the nitty-gritty at the end of a prep, then you probably need to find a way to be able to work a little bit harder, because it should be, to be able to achieve great things, it definitely creates or means you have to unlock new levels to your mind. And I absolutely relish and love that to and with my whole heart. Right, good night from the UK, probably not anywhere else in the world. I am going to bed. Hopefully you've enjoyed the day of longevity within bodybuilding. Comment below longevity and potentially what you do to try and help your longevity within either health and fitness or bodybuilding, or what it does for you. And if you got to this point, well done.